I really never wanted to turn into that guy who says, oh, humans are way too comfortable now and people need to develop more self-control. But living on this planet for 24 years now, based on what I've experienced, I feel like that's the way that things are headed. In everyone's defense, I believe it's far easier to not have any self-control these days because of the efficiency at which we can get the things that we need in our lives. If you want to just have an office job, come home, order some DoorDash, and watch Netflix, that's a perfectly fine way of going about your life and you'll survive just fine. But if what I'm describing here is you, it's likely that you have pretty low self-control. There just seems to be so many more temptations these days within advertisements and social media to persuade us to do something that we know isn't going to be good or healthy for us in the long term. But here is the great part, the silver lining about all these advancements. It's that there are so many more opportunities for the average person in this world. Through the creation of all these outlets of temptations, if you can learn to master your self-control, you can stand out above others easily and use these temptations to your own advantage. Kind of like using the temptation of social media, aka YouTube, to get people to watch your videos. Listen, I'm not mad the world is heading this way. I'm not gonna play the victim and not do anything to change myself or the world. That's gonna get me nowhere, and that's certainly gonna get you nowhere. And once you conquer this world's ability to get you to lose control over yourself, you can accomplish literally almost anything. So let me share with you the habits and the mindset that I've picked up to develop a pretty decent amount of self-control, although I'm certainly not perfect. What I've realized is that the basis for all self-control starts with your thoughts, and I guess any sort of success in life starts with your thoughts, right? If you learn to control, or I guess I should say overpower your thoughts, you can learn to control the flow of your life. The good news is that all of our minds are very malleable. As much as you think you can't change who you are right now or can't change your amount of self-control, you absolutely can through neuroplasticity, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of, which is the ability of the brain to change through growth and reorganization. The one thought, I guess it's a thought, which is kind of ironic based on what I'm about to say here, that took me a while to fully comprehend is that you are not your thoughts. Most people intentionally or unintentionally attach the idea of themselves and what they do and what they think they deserve based on that little voice inside their head. That voice inside your head basically governs you and tells you what you should do with your life. And having self-control is having the ability to overpower that little voice. Think about when you're about to do something that you know you shouldn't be doing, like let's say watching another dirty video for the 5th time today. What does that voice inside your head tell you? It says things like, do this, you need to do this, this will give you immense pleasure, you have no other option. And shortly after, your body is going to follow and react uncontrollably to these thoughts. And you start getting turned on and antsy just by the thought of doing this thing, and it's like someone else takes the wheel over yourself, and then you do it, and afterwards you snap out of it and ask yourself, why the hell did I do that? Who was controlling me? And all of that started due to that little voice. Here's what you need to understand. You have the ability to become aware of these thoughts as soon as they arise, realize that they aren't actually you, but instead society's programming, and overpower them. This is definitely not an easy task, especially when you first start practicing this, so let me explain this a little further here. The voice within you is a conditioned voice based on what you've consumed over the years. Whoever or whatever you've listened to, not yourself, over these past years since you've been born has shaped and formed this voice into what it is, which further reinforces the fact that you are not your thoughts. You see, the reason most people don't have a lot of self-control these days is because what they decide to consume is a lot of negative energy that shapes that voice into being something negative, whether that be what we put into our bodies, what news we're watching, and what we see on social media. This is why that little voice is not on your good side. And once you understand this fully, you realize you're actually limitless and what you can accomplish is limitless. I'll give you a good example from my life as to how I've used this realization to my advantage. Even though I'm very passionate about what I do, some days I just really want to revert to my lower level habits, like binge watching YouTube videos or procrastination through scrolling through my phone. That voice inside me is telling me, why do your work anyways, man? It doesn't matter if you watch one more video, you're a little more tired than usual today. And on top of that, you don't feel good about yourself today. Just forget about the work. As soon as I feel myself getting into a contagious state of negative thoughts, I'll stop myself real quick. I'll use a little form of meditation wherever I'm at, and I'll start to observe my thoughts instead of identify with them. I will view that voice almost from a third person state, this lower level of me, this voice I'll look down upon. And as I allow these thoughts to come in and try to overtake me, I simply separate myself from them. I tell myself that this isn't me, this is just some conditioning that I've unintentionally swallowed from a world that wants to keep me from reaching my true potential. And who I really am is a limitless being, someone who is capable of doing the work every single day to live a life full of abundance. And I'll continue giving myself these positive affirmations until this negative voice dissipates, and then I'll step back into my work. It's important not to try and actively fight against this uncontrollable urge to do the negative thing, but instead take a step back from what you're trying to do or what you're not trying to do and do this little form of meditation. Don't try and actively try to fight and grind your way through it. The key here that I struggle with a lot and that most people struggle with is learning when to identify when this is happening. But like all things in life, trying to master them, the key is consistent practice. That negative voice can come less and less as you practice this, and you'll be able to control yourself better, but it's never gonna go away forever, which is why you need to consistently practice this no matter what. You are not your thoughts. You are the presence of awareness that perceives them. Really think about what I just said right there. A great quote that I want to share here that I saw from someone online that really solidified this in my head was this: leave your front door and your back door open. Allow your thoughts to come and go. Just don't serve them tea. Once you become more and more attuned to your social programming and that higher level version of yourself, or the presence of awareness as I like to call it, you will be able to overpower your thoughts or that negative lower version of yourself almost all the time. Identify the negative feeling or thought when it arises, separate yourself from it, and look from above it. Realize that that isn't actually you and that you are actually limitless and can overpower this and conquer this, and do what you got to do, or don't do that thing that it wants you to do. And that is the way you master this ego, in which you encapsulate that is trying to get you to do lower level things because of the things that are so easy to consume these days. Thank you to all the patrons on this channel on Patreon. This is a platform that I'm putting out exclusive content and giving one-on-one sessions, and you can't find this content anywhere else. If you want to check that out, go to patreon.com/Cole Hastings. Link's also going to be in the description to that, and I hope that this video helped you once again. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and leave a like if you want to. It really helps push this out to more people. Appreciate you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch this entire video. That really means a lot to me. And I'm headed out now. Have a great rest of your day, and let's get some control. Let's fucking do some shit.